My wife let her sister move in permanently with us without my permission, but my moving out and our divorce are also permanent. When Andrea and I got married 3 years ago, I knew she had a lot of responsibility on her shoulders regarding her family. I wasn't expecting to get involved in her family matters, but it seems I am now. She grew up in a tight-knit family environment with her mom and younger sister, Jenny. Their dad walked out on them with no child support. He just left. Andrea, being 6 years older than Jenny, took charge. She raised Jenny while their mom was the breadwinner, working 2 jobs. When I met Andrea at work, I saw the same intensity, driven, organized, calm. She was the type of woman who didn't flinch under pressure. She handled things. We clicked quickly. I, too, grew up in a similar single mom family situation. My parents split when we were kids. My dad providing child support wasn't enough. Me, being the oldest of 3, took on the responsibility, supporting my mom financially and at home, raising my siblings. So I understood the burden Andrea carried. Same values, same struggle. We dated for 3 years, then got married in a small ceremony. Just close friends, our family, and yes, Jenny right next to Andrea like a second shadow. Back then, I liked Jenny. She was pretty agreeable and gets along with everyone. There was nothing negative to say about her. At the wedding, she gave a toast that was more about Andrea than us, but I didn't mind, it was a sister thing. They were very close, I got it. But liking someone in small doses doesn't mean you want to live with them. When Jenny decided to move to the city to work as a model, Andrea was ecstatic. She asked me if she could stay with us for a few days, just until she found a place. I said, sure, that's what family does for each other. She was happy that Jenny was finally taking her shot at pursuing her dream, giving herself the chance to be independent. And yeah, I thought it was brave too. But brave doesn't mean prepared. She had no income source, no place to stay, no car, not even a clear plan, just a suitcase, some portfolio pictures, and that calmness that despairs me. Someone who believes things will magically work out. I asked her, what's the plan? Do you have any contacts? How are we going to break into the industry? She didn't seem worried and just said, see the engagement on my posts. People follow me a lot. If I don't go live for a day, they flood my messages. Who wouldn't want me? I have the body, the face, the attitude. I'll start getting calls soon. You'll see. Seemed like a bad plan to me, but I just told her, sure, good luck. Her success or failure was none of my business. It didn't bother me until her stay at our place got longer than necessary. A week went by, but she was still there. Also, I didn't see her making any moves. The sisters were too excited catching up, after so many years, that Jenny forgot she was there to make a living. I'd come back from work and find them cuddled on the couch with lots of snacks, gossiping about family and friends. I even suggested that Jenny look for a place nearby so they could see each other easily when she moved out. When it had been almost a week, I asked Jenny if she'd had any luck finding a place, but she avoided the question and changed the subject. Andrea immediately jumped in, saying that she was looking. The same conversation was repeated every few days, and now it's been over a month, and every time I ask about this, I get the same response. No straight answer, no transparency about their plan. I've tried to be patient. I think a month is being too patient. I didn't want to make Andrea feel like she had to choose, but I'm tired of my routines being hijacked, of Jenny leaving half her clothes in the bathroom, her late-night calls in the hallway, and most of all, Andrea acting like I'm the problem. She says Jenny is looking but can't find a place that meets her requirements and also fits her budget. I understand, girls are picky, and they have to be. They have to make sure it's safe. So I was patiently, or rather, restlessly waiting for the day she'd leave. But last week, Andrea started dropping hints, very gently, about letting Jenny stay with us until she gets on her feet. I told her, I was holding my breath until she left, and now you're telling me I have to let her stay here indefinitely? She defended that it wouldn't be forever, just until she got a job and could afford a decent place. I laughed because that would only happen in her dreams. I told her straight up that I don't want to share my space with her sister, so they better start looking right away. Andrea felt, not convincingly, but in a whatever way, said okay, whatever. Since then, both of them have been acting weird. They keep to themselves and don't include me. And then, Jenny talks. Makes a disgusted face as if I had committed a crime by reclaiming my house back. She's been making comments, because I'm sure she knows what I've talked to my. And obviously, I'm the bad guy. I confronted Andrea about this, and she asked me to ignore it. She's a kid. We are the grown-ups and we should be more mature than her. She'll be gone in a few days. Can't you bear with her for a few more days for me? Lately, Jenny has befriended one of my coworkers through social media and has been flirting with him. He's a nasty guy, always looking for reasons to put others down at work. I think half the office hates him, which is where I am, and the other half would like to throw him off a bridge, where I am too. Jenny has told him that I wasn't letting her stay at my house, even though she was unemployed. Basically, she projected herself as the victim and me as some kind of monster kicking her out on a snowy night. I didn't know these stories were being cooked up until the whole office was gossiping about it. I was furious. I stormed into the house. Andrea was in the kitchen. Jenny was lying on the couch, looking at her phone with the TV on in the background. I went to Andrea and told her, we need to talk. She didn't even look up, just said, if it's about dinner, it'll be ready in 20 minutes. I clarified, it's not about dinner, it's about her, pointing openly because I didn't care if she heard or not. That got her attention. She put the knife down, which was a good idea on her part, and leaned on the counter. Okay, what now? I looked at her as seriously as possible and said, she has to leave now, this very moment. Jenny chimed in, hello, I'm right here, where are your manners? I turned to her and replied, manners went out the window when you went and talked about me at my job. You went behind my back, bad-mouthing me. I reserve manners for people I don't want to kick out right now. She wasn't surprised to be found out, acted calm, as if she had already planned it, simply shrugged and said, well, I didn't start it. He asked me why I was looking for a place when my brother-in-law had a spare room and could put me up. I was speechless, looked at Andrea, who was equally surprised, asked Jenny what was going on. At first, she tried to cover it up, saying she hadn't said anything. Later, when I asked her to show me the chats, she confessed that something had been said out of place. She said she was angry that I wasn't supportive and wanted to get back at me. That's why she exaggerated the whole story and distorted it against me. I was about to kick her out of the house when Andrea asked me to calm down and begged me to give her a few more days. I put my foot down and said, no way. I want this woman out of the house right now. Andrea started crying, saying that Jenny didn't have anywhere to go and that it was nighttime. Said that bad things could happen to someone like her, who looked like a model. She begged me to give her a chance, that she'd take care of moving her out in a week. I told her, 1 week and no more deadlines. If she's still here after a week, I'll take care of it, and I won't be taking care of moving her out. Since this conversation, Jenny has stayed quiet, calm, as if she wasn't the reason for this whole mess. This happened in the afternoon, almost night, a few hours ago, and I'm still pissed. Don't know what else to do. Don't know if I did the right thing by letting her stay another week. But at the same time I know that if I had taken all her stuff and put her on the street, I would now be seen as the bad guy for leaving a young girl out on the street. Before continuing, don't forget to subscribe. New stories every day. Update 1. I'm feeling so stupid right now. The night I posted, I couldn't sleep. Went out to get some fresh air in the yard. I overheard Jenny talking to her mom on the phone, saying, I don't know why she is so scared to tell him the truth. He's given me another week again. God knows what she'll tell him after that. What was the truth? I ran back to the room and confronted Andrea. She pretended she was deeply asleep and insisted we discuss it in the morning, but I was furious and demanded an explanation immediately. She tried to evade the situation again, But I told her things are going to be discussed now. I went straight back to Jenny's room and knocked on the door. Andrea tried to stop me, but we were going to have a very serious conversation right now. When Jenny opened the door and I saw how she transformed my guest room into hers, I understood the whole game. I demanded to know what was the truth she was talking about on the phone. At first, both tried to make me feel guilty, saying I was barging into her room and invading her privacy, but I didn't fall for that trap. I demanded an explanation. Finally, Jenny snapped at Andrea, saying, "Tell him the truth. How long are you going to hide it?" Andrea looked down and whispered timidly, "Actually, Jenny is going to stay with us." I asked her, "Until when?" "Nothing." Absolute silence. I pushed for an answer. She asked that we discuss it privately. I said, "No, there's no privacy left in our marriage. We've been having a 3-person marriage for several weeks, so we're going to treat it like one now." Andrea spoke, and what she said was worse than everything that had happened so far. It wasn't Jenny who packed her bags and came to the city for a modeling career. It was Andrea who planned this whole thing, or rather, her mom was pulling the strings. She'd told Andrea to take her in our home, that, being her older sister, she should support her until she got on her feet. Andrea knew I was going to resist. That's why she planned to let Jenny settle into our home little by little. I can't explain how I felt that day. I yelled and cursed. Normally, I don't have anger issues, but these past few weeks have tested my limits. I felt betrayed. With all this happening, Jenny chimed in, "Maybe I should leave. I'm not here to ruin your marriage." Still, Andrea wasn't willing to let her go. Took her hands, looked at me angrily and said, "She's my sister, and she's staying here, whether you like it or not. This is my house too, and I should have a say." I wished I could knock some logic into her head, telling her that the decision to bring someone into the house is for both of us, but she had already lost her logic. So I didn't bother fighting. Told her, "Okay, you decided for yourself, and now I'll decide for myself." Went back to my room and locked it. A few minutes later, Andrea knocked and demanded that we have an adult conversation, because locking myself in the room wasn't one. I admit, it wasn't, but I didn't feel like talking to someone who invokes maturity and adulthood when it suits her, but otherwise acts like she's 5 and hides things from her mommy. I didn't answer. She talked through the door to justify herself, saying she was only trying to take care of her sister, that she couldn't leave her alone, that family is everything to her and blah blah blah. I fell asleep, literally fell asleep, because the family story was so boring that I went into a deep sleep coma. The next day, when I went to work, my team already knew everything that had happened at my house that night. Jenny had updated my coworker Toby, the jerk who only knows how to do jerk things, that I mentioned in my first post, about everything. What surprised me even more was that Jenny and Toby are now dating, and Andrea knows it. One of my work friends even pulled up photos from Toby's Instagram, where he was hanging out with Jenny. And guess who else? Andrea. If I needed anything more to feel betrayed, I felt like I didn't know this woman, because she knows my opinion of Toby, that even the name sounds like a jerk to me. Sorry if anyone is called Toby, but right now I can't associate anything good with that word. My sister-in-law befriended my toxic coworker to get back at me, and she had been supporting it. Not only that, she had also been hanging out with them and yachting together. I'd had enough of this woman. I asked my friend to print these photos for me. Went home in the afternoon, and when Andrea arrived, I threw those photos in her face. I didn't ask for an explanation, didn't explain anything. We were past the point of fixing these things. It no longer made sense. She was stammering something about not being able to tell me because, she said, "You hate him, you'd get mad." And of course I hate him and would get mad. He's the damn office jerk who has gotten friends fired with his crap, and who has tried it with me. While when we've reported him to the higher-ups, he always lands on his feet because a jerk like him would only be there because he knows someone higher up. I told her, "Don't waste your breath on an explanation, I don't care." The water had overflowed, and now it was time to act. I grabbed my suitcase and started packing. She told me not to leave, but I replied, "If it's your house and you can make decisions without me, then I'm not staying in it." She tried to stop me and defend herself. I ignored her, packed everything I needed, and moved in with a coworker at his condo. It's been over a week, and the smoke from the battle is beginning to clear. When all this happened, I didn't know what I wanted. It happened so fast, but now I have clarity. I can't stay with a woman who betrayed me so easily, who would choose others over me, and wouldn't hesitate for a second to lie to me. She's been texting me every day, asking to talk. Today I replied that I was going to file for divorce. She had a meltdown after that, which is why my phone is full of voicemails I'm not going to listen to. She's begging me to forgive her, but her sister is still living at her house. The first few were about her asking for forgiveness, but that her sister would still be living in that house. I don't think the rest are worth it, unless my lawyer advises me that they might be important. I've already made the decision, and nothing will change it at this point. A dinosaur from the future could arrive with the ability to speak English, point its laser gun at me and force me to call off the divorce, with the excuse that if I don't, kangaroos will dominate the world in the future, and I won't do it. The news of the divorce, obviously, is still wreaking havoc on Andrea. She tried every possible way to talk to me and convince me otherwise. She just didn't get a talking dinosaur. But she better not have. Like I said before, it would have been a waste of time. But she came very close to getting one. Her mother called me to try to dissuade me. I didn't hate my mother-in-law before all this, and I didn't want to fall into the evil mother-in-law stereotype. But she is not a good mother-in-law. She's not a good mother. She's not a good talking dinosaur. She preached to me about the importance of family in our lives and that I shouldn't make impulsive decisions. I politely replied that she should stay out of it, and that I was concerned about the laser gun, and I hung up. She didn't give up. She called me repeatedly until I had to tell her, "Don't make me say something I'll regret. Let's respect each other's boundaries, and you stay away from me." Andrea tried to contact me and clear up the misunderstandings. I thanked her, but told her that I already had all the clarity I needed and more. She'd been so clear. If it were any clearer, she'd be working as a window. She claims I was too hard on her. People get away with infidelities, and I was divorcing her for something so trivial. She doesn't realize that what she did was no less than cheating on me with another man. She screwed up monumentally, and she can't even realize that I don't trust her now not to cheat on me. I've already filed the papers. In our state there's a stupid law that forces you to wait 60 days before we can finalize the divorce, even if we both sign. As we approached the end of that waiting period, our lawyer set up a meeting to discuss the terms of the divorce. It would be better if our terms were aligned. That would make the process smoother. We met, and I kept it strictly transactional. We barely had any assets together, except for the joint account. Not even the house is ours. It was decided that we would split the account. In the meeting, I was expecting Andrea to have a meltdown, but she held it together. Didn't say a word too many. But because she had a card up her sleeve, a ridiculous lawsuit, she demanded a huge alimony payment. And when I say ridiculous, it's because it made my lawyer laugh, because the figure she mentioned was exaggerated on purpose. She earns enough. We have no children. Why the hell should I pay her a cent? She said the divorce was my decision, so I should pay her money to compensate for her pain. Andrea talks about her pain, but didn't say anything about my compensation for my balls ache from putting up with her and her sister for a month. My lawyer said we'll discuss it in court, her compensation, not my pain. There are things you shouldn't say out loud. We'll make a detailed post about the divorce once it's over. For now, this is the update. And yes, I quit my job and finished my notice period. For the time being, I'm working with my brother setting up his business. I could get rid of that toxic workplace and breathe. After the breakup with Andrea, Toby had made my life miserable at work, spreading all sorts of lies and gossip about me, with Jenny fueling the situation with her lies. The office felt like a trap, but before I left a bomb for Toby to defuse. I don't have friends up top, but I do have people who appreciate my work, and my leaving because of Toby, which I made sure to emphasize, hasn't gone down well. I don't know if they're dinosaurs because they're a bit old, but unlike my mother-in-law, they have laser guns in the form of dismissals. Update 3. First of all, let me clarify something. I didn't ask for any alimony, nor did I receive any. I received a lot of criticism for saying I might end up receiving alimony because I was unemployed. Guys, it's not that easy to get money out of a woman, even if you're down and out. Also, my resignation was after the divorce started, so it didn't count. It was just part of my jokes. Anyway, this update is about something else. Yes, I'm now divorced, but things are pretty ugly for Andrea. Apparently, her family has turned their backs on her. Shortly after I moved out of the house, Andrea couldn't cover the rent on her own. It wasn't just the rent, but also the utilities, food bills, etc. Jenny was a parasite, sucking her blood. But Andrea didn't realize this in time. She dug into her savings to cover their monthly expenses, but continued supporting Jenny, who didn't have an ounce of seriousness or respect for her sister. I don't blame her. She was busy sleeping with Toby, which means not having an ounce of seriousness or respect for life. After a few months, when Andrea couldn't keep up anymore, she asked Jenny to take a part-time job and at least pay for the food and utilities. Jenny refused to do so and kept living in the bubble that someday she'd be discovered by some beauty product company or fashion designer and would get a big launch. That day never came, not even today. Andrea tried to involve her mother to talk to Jenny, but she also forced Andrea to keep supporting Jenny. Finally, Andrea had enough. She moved out of that house and let Jenny deal with her life, because getting rid of Jenny was almost impossible. She's a leech. I think I've already said that. Andrea hoped Jenny would learn her lesson and become responsible. Guess what happened? Jenny moved in with Toby, and he's covering her expenses while Andrea drowns in debt. She's drained almost all of her savings to continue supporting her entitled sister and also for the legal battle. It was because of her stupidity that the case dragged on for months. She was demanding an exorbitant alimony payment and months went by until it was denied. Apparently, her mother was telling her not to let me go so easily, and she blindly followed her mother's advice without using her brain and lost her money. It's good to have savings and not a sister who drained your savings when you needed them most. To get her finances back on track, Andrea moved in with her friend, who's a single mom. Her situation has come to this point. She's earning some extra money babysitting her friend's baby. This is what happens when you let others control your life. She followed her mother's wishes to let Jenny move in with us without my permission, and now she's paying the price for it. The other day she sent me a long email apologizing for destroying our marriage. Asked if there was any hope of reconciliation. She's willing to pay the price to get back together. I didn't reply, because there's nothing she can say or do to earn my trust. She betrayed me enormously. She not only let her sister invade my space, but also allowed her to make my life miserable. Her sister was passing all the information about our family matters to Toby, who was using it against me at work. She knew everything and did nothing. Didn't even tell me. On top of that, she sided with them and aligned herself with my enemy. And for those asking about Toby, he's already fired and out on the street, where he belongs. I wonder how long it will take him to exhaust his savings to keep Jenny, or if he'll leave her before then. Update 4. A small update, which also serves as a farewell because I didn't say anything in the previous one. Jenny has broken up with Toby, who is also finished because former colleagues have told me that he still hasn't gotten a new job. Jenny has tried to go back to her sister, who told her no because she doesn't have money for her and can't let her live with her friend. Wow, what's that? A lesson learned? She has also gone to her mother, but her mother made it clear that she never wanted her there and handed her over, with a bow and all, to her sister. And then she came to ask me if, well, no. Just kidding, can you imagine? Now I really say goodbye to you guys. Before continuing, don't forget to subscribe. New stories every day.